Hello,
Hello.
welcome to our second live uh, directly from Ukraine with Viktor, who is the coordinator of the Mental Wellness Society. We are very happy to have this second installment of the event. I see. Okay, it's coming back. Okay, so I have with me Dr. Vus, who is in Ukraine, an Ukrainian in Ukraine, which is not regular by the time coming, an Ukrainian still in Ukraine. And I have Dr. Lebovits, who is my partner for many years. He's a chairman of the Mental Wellness Society that we co-founded together. So thank you very much for being with us. We are sharing here innovative psychological assistance because we are the Mental Wellness Society and we are looking to provide improved functionality in well-being. And for that reason, we realized that Viktor was in a difficult situation in Ukraine. He's one of the members of the now 270 plus members of the Mental Wellness Society in 72 countries. And we say last week, we met 2 weeks ago, and we say, Viktor, we need to do something. So we spoke 2 weeks ago, and we made a task force with our members. Here you have some of our members on the screen. And we have also that's the Mental Wellness Society members, but we have been joined since in 2 weeks by a quantity of members through the Taskforce for Supporting Psychology with 134 more members involved to support you, Viktor, which in 2 weeks is wonderful. So I want to thank all the people who joined today. I want to thank also all of you who are helping the task force. But before that, I want to thank also our team because we have a team made by Celeste, we have Chris, and we have Whitney Edna Ibe from Nigeria. She's actually our chief editor on online media. They have been helping to grow the task force from nothing to a lot of visual, like you can see, which is beautiful visual, but also being efficient, keeping in contact with all the members and doing everything. So really, congratulations to all of you. We just got the idea, but all of you got involved and really helped. Viktor, tell us about news in Ukraine.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity. And first of all, I would like to express my high appreciation of this support. Really, it's not possible to imagine, but it's very useful for us, and we need this. We need to feel virtual elbow and virtual shoulders of people who support us. Of course, it could be better if it will be physically, but even virtually, it is very good for us. Regarding news, we continue to stay in this situation of war. We continue to see, if we don't speak about politics, we can speak about mental health of population. So we are staying in this situation when we each minute hear some news from the field of the battle, and this news are not very good. Of course, that's why we have many doubts, we have many disappointments regarding this situation. And when we hear some official news about wins of our army force, in this case, we are ready to count even seconds, not only minutes, but even seconds when the war will be finished. However, we hear some fears regarding nuclear attack, regarding that Putin gonna to start war with Poland and with other countries. Our colleagues who are abroad, they also told about situation in that country. So we are living in situation of aggravation of some fears, some doubts. So it's not very good. And regarding some positive news, 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, in the terminal of Lviv, we saw about 35,000 persons each day. Each day came to Lviv about 35,000 per day to the terminal. But now it is about 15,000. So it's more easily, it's less than 35. So we are ready. We can cope with this. We can rule with this masses of population. At the same time, I see some new tendencies that people who left their cities came to Lviv and then again come cross the board and come to the some countries, EU countries or other countries, Polish, Romania, Hungary, Germany. Some of these people turn back, and it is very interesting tendencies. Some people are gonna to turn back to their houses, again back to Kharkiv, again back to Zaporizhia, again back to the Kiev. So they prefer to stay under bomb rather than stay abroad or in the shelters in refugee centers. So they highly disappointed with this situation in refugee centers. And we at the same time, else one news, it is that we have reorganization of the process of the work with refugees. We see new volunteers because previous volunteers, more of them are emotionally burned out and they are seeking, they can't be volunteers, they would like to earn money so that they are in this. We see new rules regarding evacuation trains, new rules regarding staying in the shelters. So it's again create additional challenges for this. So I can summarize that we have aggravation of new challenges.
Thank you. You also told me, because we speak daily, you told me also that there is a COVID epidemic, and there is flu, and there is because the people live one to next each other. Even if you are not in a refugee shelter, you are in an area where everybody lives together next to each other, and that's a big problem. You communicate to me. And yes, the people come back because they are discouraged and they don't feel. When they go in the camp, you explained me also that they don't have their space. The children need space with privacy with their mother, and they don't have that privacy. And they end up to come back to their place where they prefer to suffer, but suffer in dignity than in the way, because the camp were not ready to help the people. The world was not ready to deal with the craziness of Putin. And we were not thinking that could happen. But okay, that we don't choose, but it came. So with that said, 2 weeks passed. And in 2 weeks, we tried to organize ourselves. So I will explain all what we have done in 2 weeks. And again, thank you for all our members on the task force. We organize the task force, and thank you again to the members. We have been creating documents and video in English and Ukrainian because the beginning we were thinking, let's do it in Russian, but it has to be in Ukrainian because it's a situation of conflict. And have been explained by our partner at the Israeli Trauma Center, Israeli Trauma Coalition, have been explained that it has to be in the language of the country if the country does not want to look weak. So we do it in Ukrainian. Okay, we had to work with that. We have developed the Mighty Network Task Force for Ukraine. On the Mighty Network Task Force for Ukraine, we did it in also 2 languages in the topics. If you go in the topics, and you have an area for Ukrainian and an area in English. So when you go install that, you see a lot of documents, a lot of information, Ukrainian, in English, which I think could be important for the people, for the parents, for the helpers, there is different programs. We also develop health and wellness tape. So that's, for example, Dr. Donkin, our partner, Dr. Donkin, with a chiropractor in Lincoln, Nebraska, have created 5 2-minute video of what you really need to do to keep in good shape. We'll play a very short excerpt of that.
Help you with actions that you can take right now to help yourself
The sound is low.
during periods of extreme stress. Throughout a stressful day, it's
okay. You can look at that on the Mighty Networks and then download and look at all those videos. We also, in addition to that, we have been able to make a cooperation with Israel Trauma Coalition. They exist for many years in Israel, because it just happened that Israel is a little country which is living every day on the rockets. So we had to develop a way to learn to live under that. And they develop a very good knowledge, and they become an NGO, and they are involved in many trauma all over the world, and they have 35 centers all over Israel, and I think 8 around Israel, around Ukraine at this moment. And we partner with them because there is things they do which are very important, and they made access to a lot of important documents to us. But we also have something which is pretty unique, which is you, Viktor. I think we are the only organization having a psychologist on site providing and helping people. We also need to thank Israel Trauma Coalition because they are helping us as a not-for-profit organization now to become an NGO and to be able to provide the knowledge we have, which is very unique, to provide our knowledge to United Nations and other type of organization. They also have been very important because they have made the contact for Viktor with one of their members, Alex, for Viktor to be trained in Ukrainian on different sessions they will have. We also with them have been refocusing on our event we were having in September in Tel Aviv, and we changed it to be later in November because it gives us time to use more what is happening in Ukraine. And we are centering more on a subject which is very important, which is preparedness and resilience to trauma. So we are concentrating with that event. It's very interesting here that I am in Israel, and our office is in America, but there is a lot of knowledge in Israel, and there is also a lot of knowledge to share in that terrible situation from Viktor Frankl which in the depths of the worst camp of concentration have been able to survive because he came up with a psychology concept, and he realized that he cannot let the element around him influence who he is. So to be able to think, and to be able to think of after the war is very important, because there is no war which will last forever. So your only job when you are there is to concentrate on your job to survive. You need to survive. And that's your job of every day, but you need to look forward, not on all the problems there is now. You cannot ignore them, but you need to focus your attention and focus your motivation on this will end. You will be a survivor, and you need to use all your mind to not use your mental wellness. And that includes doing health and wellness exercise on breathing. Viktor, you too, because I know that sometimes you forget about it. And then you know that you don't feel too good when that happens. So our organization is very specialized in mind and body. And that's what we contribute here. So we have also Avi Tannenbaum, who is training. I've been making a training in Ukrainian last week. There was 180 people attending. We have Sherry Kelly, who personally is attending twice a day from Florida. Viktor as his personal mental well-being support coach or friend, or call it the way you want. Dr. Kelly is a very good psychologist. We also have Sherry, which is making Friday a live event with Viktor, which is a training session in English this time. So we do a lot of training. We have been asking to volunteer to help us in translation, to create documents, press release, networking Ukrainian organization in US. For example, we have found that there is over 300 Ukrainians in Lincoln, Nebraska, and they are networking with Dr. Donking, but that can happen in any city of the United States. There is over 1 million Ukrainians in the United States which are willing to help Ukraine. So that's something we will speak in a few minutes. But it's very important to see that many groups want to help Ukraine, and that's what we have been able to develop. We also have been as cooperating with Kenkou. And Kenkou is a biofeedback app. And Kenkou have been really, really stepping up to the place, because they have decided to provide, listen to that, it's very important. They are providing to every Ukrainian in Ukraine, every Ukrainian in the camp, every Ukrainian in the United States helping the Ukrainian in Ukraine, and also all the people attending in Ukraine helping other people. That's a lot of apps. And the app will take your vital signs, and it will take before you start to breathe and after, and it teaches you how to breathe well. So you will be able to access, we are releasing it tomorrow on a website, and you will just have to put the mention MWS for Ukraine, and you will be able to access for free all those apps. We also have, we are developing a list of 10 commandments for survival. And the first one is you need to have a place for yourself where you can refugee in your head. A second one, you need to do one good thing for somebody a day. By helping others, altruism is the best remedy for the type of mental problem you are exposed. Viktor is helping thousands, 10,000s of people every day. But it's valid for everybody. We have a lot of listeners. Last week, I think we had something like 400 people in Ukraine watching our last live. So it's to them that I'm talking. I'm sorry, I cannot speak Ukrainian. We also, I think maybe at this point, Dr. Lebovits, you want to intervene?
Yes, Viktor, can you tell us a little bit about what it has been like for you to be providing assistance, psychological assistance to the people you encounter in the Ukraine? What's it been like for you?
What is like for me? I would like to say that in this situation of uncertainty, in this challenging situation, it's highly resourceful when you care about others. If you can help other people, it is very resourceful, and it is very it's inspiring me. It gives me new breathing for my activities. So I like this work. I like when I see shine and warm on the eyes and the faces of my clients. I like when I hear happiness in the voice of volunteers. When I have a supervision for them. I like this when I can help to others.
I'm very curious. Do you find that people are looking for some practical solutions, some how should I say, guidelines of how to deal with situations, or are they looking for as much just the contact with you, just the empathy, the connection that you provide that tells them they're important, that they are important to you, they're important to their survival? What are they looking for more?
Yeah, it's a very great question. So I would like to say that, first of all, my methods in crisis intervention is to provide people with clear guidance, because they are very troubled. They don't know what they should to do, where they are going. So you should to provide them with clear guidance. It is first. They need in this. And second, I do in my activities, it is that I should to influence calm to them. My non-verbal reaction, my eyes, they should to demonstrate that I know all. I am your right guide. I can help you. Don't worry. And I try to speak with them very slowly. And in this way, it is like hypnosis for them. They getting calm. And after this, it is very necessary to provide them with clear instruction. First of all, clear instruction about keeping their basic needs, only basic needs, and then we can work with them after. But I would like to say that that previous methods, when you educate, when you teach people how to self-regulate their emotions, it doesn't work now. They need instruction. They need to see you. They need to hear you. This allows them to don't feel their aloneness. So it is very important to provide them clear instructions.
That's really fascinating. My research, the research that I've looked into, when we've experienced natural disasters here in the United States, for example, with Hurricane Katrina, the emergency teams that would go down, psychologists, social workers, mental health professionals, were encountering very much the same thing you're describing, that people first and foremost need some organization and structure to how to proceed in their lives. And they need definition of, this is what you do today, this is what you do tomorrow, this is what you do next week, one day at a time, one task at a time. And then you can also provide them with that emotional stability, that sense of, okay, just follow along. We'll get through this. We'll get through this. But first, they need that organization and structure to clear themselves so they can focus.
True.
Absolutely.
True.
Fascinating. Very, very interesting. Are you getting, if I can ask a very simple question, how many people are you able to meet with on any given day? How many people come to see you? Where do you meet them? How does this happen?
I can meet many people, and I can provide crisis intervention. It depends on day to day, but in average, it is about 30-40 persons.
Wow, that's a lot of work, Victor. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, because it not take many minutes, so you can stabilize their emotional in short time. It's like short-term intervention, crisis intervention.
Understood.
You work from 7 o'clock in the evening to 7 o'clock in the morning, correct? Your shift.
Yeah. But I mean this from 7 to 7, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. or 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. It depends on shift. But I mean this number of people only in the time when I have my volunteer duty, my volunteer shift.
Understood.
Only in this time. Other time, I also need to rest, and I have about 3-4 patients per day without this volunteer shifts.
In addition to the crisis intervention work that you're doing, yes.
You also are coordinator on the Association for the Psychologists in Ukraine. And you are networking with a lot of people. And I guess that when all what we give you, the access and all what we have, you share and you share with your colleagues so they can have access to our data bank of information if they need, correct?
Yeah. And also, please.
No, I was just going to ask you, what Dr. Meyer described in terms of the work that we've been doing. What would you say is most useful to you? What would you say we should pursue even more intensely?
I would like to express my high appreciation because first our meeting was emergency meeting. We also didn't know what we should to do, but for this time, since our first meeting up to today, we have done a lot of work. We create this task force. We create this e-resources. We create some webinars, some support. So we daily communicate. So it's very great job, and we created significant resource for support of mental health in Ukraine crisis.
Thank you, Viktor.
One last question.
Thank you to you.
Believe me, we wish we could do more. One question. I'm just curious, do most people have access via a smartphone or some device to getting things off the internet?
Some people who are on the occupied territory, some of them have access, some of them they don't have access. That's why it's problem. However, they are able some time to time to have connections, and at the same time we these resources for not only for people who struggle but also for professionals, and they professionals have many approaches how to communicate with other people. So it works even on the occupied territory also.
I'm curious, would printed material be of use to you?
You muted?
I'm sorry, would printed material be of use to you?
No,
No. Okay.
no, printed
Okay.
material won't be useful.
Fine. Very good. Okay. Dr.
Not
Meyer?
useful.
Also, so I heard in the news that WhatsApp is not a secure system. And if people want to have personal and I would say personal and confidential information, it's better they share through Telegram, because I have seen that in the news that WhatsApp is not a safe way, and people can say things to anybody and put them in trouble. So people need to be very careful in their communication too. But that brings me to my next
Yeah, sure.
subject. We think that more apps, the electronic and the apps have to be more involved in what we do, because we think we need to introduce we have some ideas, but technology in this war needs, it's unfortunately, we go back 40, 50 years back, but 40 years back, there was not electronic communication, and there was not all the technology we have to help people. So we are thinking to use that. We have seen the app of Kenkou, but there is also some other app which are coming. For example, we are thinking, we receive donation from Infinity, and Infinity is developing some apps for people to get calm. So they make access to calming apps, which will be on our system tomorrow. And you can have the apps. So to get calm is important too. It's in English. By the way, Kenkou, we spoke before, is in English for 1 month, but they are working to make it in Ukrainian. But there is app for people to relax. It could be something else. Another thing is, we are thinking to connect Ukrainian in America. There is 1 million Ukrainian in America. Obviously, we will not succeed with all the Ukrainians in the same time, but we will start actually with Lincoln, Nebraska, and go in different states and grow. But the idea is to pair one Ukrainian with WhatsApp in America with one Ukrainian in WhatsApp in Ukraine, and to support that person. Obviously, we will need to train a little bit the people who will help, because it could be very emotionally difficult to do that type of thing. And also we will need to issue guidelines, because we don't want people to end up with abuse. People in America saying to the other one, send me money, I help you. Or the people in Ukraine, I need this. Or all the abuse we know which are existing. So we are developing guidelines. But we are thinking to use one Ukrainian in America at the time to help one Ukrainian in Ukraine at the time with WhatsApp. What do you think of the idea, Viktor?
Wow, I am amazed. It's very cool idea. It's brilliant idea. It would be very, very, very helpful, because we need this communication with other people. Really, we need this. And I completely agree with you that one of the main issue, one of the main challenge now in Ukraine, it is lack of comfort and lack of privacy. It's very difficult to transfer emergency suddenly from comfort, from private space to common space. It's very difficult. But this idea, when we can communicate with Ukrainian in USA and Ukrainian in Ukraine, it would be very good. And I would like to add that we need to use Ukrainian language. I see many requests, many comments from patients. We don't like to speak Russian. Yeah, we are Russian. We are Russian language people, but we would like to speak Ukrainian. We don't like to speak Russian.
Ukrainian.
So,
Yes.
Is Ukrainian in America.
Yes.
Yeah, it's It could be very good.
One aspect of this idea came about from some work we've done before for first responders who deal with crisis hotlines. And our thinking was that if we could give individuals, just ordinary individuals who are Ukrainian America, who therefore have an understanding of the culture, understanding of the language, etc., some guidelines and some basic instruction in how to connect in that way, that it could have a very beneficial effect for the people that they would be in touch with. And one person to one person. It's this person-to-person approach that we think would really be very valuable.
And only for moral support.
Yes.
Nothing else. And it will be a name, a first name with a WhatsApp number, but no more exchange of private information and so on. We have to be very careful on the guidelines.
Yes. Yeah. It could be bridge between heart of one Ukrainian to heart to the other Ukrainian. It could be like bridge. It's very good idea.
Absolutely. Yes.
Another idea we had is, and it relates to what you said about, it relates to what you say, the people need you to tell them what to do, how to move. It's because they are in flight, fight, freeze mode under crisis, which means that they are thinking with the whole brain, which means that they have subconscious reaction, but they cannot tap in the reasoning and in thinking. They cannot think clearly. So we realize that this is also the part of danger, because it keeps them in a mammalian type of response with a tunnel vision effect. They focus on the problem. When you focus on the problem, you don't focus on the solution. So we realize that it could be very good that we help people to, for example, focus on destination. So that is something we have developed, your destination. We even applied it to the situation in Ukraine with you. We recognize that to help, to be 200 people to help Viktor, we don't do a good job. We need to help many Ukrainians. So awareness, how can we help many Ukrainians? Choice, well, we are choosing to go through WhatsApp on modern technology. And then you so that you have the awareness of what is your destination. And then you make a choice. What is your destination? How do you go there? And finally, you make an assessment how the process went. This method, which is a mindful choice method coming from science research, you need to do it personally and every day, but we apply it even as an organization. We have also some different cards that we have a set of evoke cards which are evoke psychology skill icons. And you have here the icon of destination. You have a very important icon of don't ask why, but ask what. What is happening? Because to go in, why it's happening to me? Why nobody has the answer? So you need to be efficient. We need to use what? We are backward design, meaning we start by the end. The end in your case, Viktor, is to be a survivor. And that's what you need to do. So the end, you cannot look every day. The war is not a destination. What you need to do is to survive. The binary choice. Do I stay? Can I do a good choice? Can I do, because above binary decision making, people have a fight, freeze. So you want to make it simple. You do this, you don't do that. You do this, you don't do that. And positive thinking is very important to keep the people with hope and motivation. And also, it's very important to be motivated, to focus on your solution, not the problem, Because if you focus on all the tiny problems or even one or two, you're not productive. So it comes from our concept of positive, personal efficiency. And you want to be able to focus on that because you end up where you look. If you look at the problem, you will end up there. If you look at the solution, you will end up in the solution. We have thoughts about that. Let's continue. You don't want to engage the old brain, but the new brain. You don't want to be in flight, freeze. You want to know and use the time because with time you will get better. You need to know to master time even in time of war because you want to avoid tunnel vision effect. When you lose time, you lose your peripheral vision and you end up to have a tunnel vision effect. And finally, you need to have mind and body. You need to have a holistic mind and body approach. You need to do proper breathing. You need to help the vagus nerve to be a rheostat to your homeostatic system, and you need to sleep. And if you don't sleep well, you need to know that you need to find a way to do some activity, some breathing, the movement we have been showing. So with that idea, we want to create a group of experts to see how we can implement together, mobilizing very early on prefrontal cortex activity. Some members, Dr. Bernardo Marizalde, have sent us some protocol for self-hypnosis. We are getting different colleagues which are involved. But we, instead to look at everything, and many people have been doing a lot of things already, we want to innovate in our group and focus on how to communicate and engage other people and deblock the prefrontal cortex. So maybe Dr. Lebovits, you can give more information about that?
Yeah, Viktor, when I was listening to you describe your activities with crisis intervention, the thought that occurred to me is there's a famous saying, charity is not giving a person a fish, it's teaching a person how to fish, right? So we are looking not just to give people direction and structure, but the goal is to help people be able to create in their own minds, to have a pathway to create their own structure, to recognize what they need to do. Unfortunately, we know that research has shown us that when people are under chronic stress, like you're describing, it actually disrupts the connectivity between the brain, the part of the brain that's involved with survival, and the prefrontal cortex. So it actually reduces the ability of the brain to be an assistant in survival. And what we're talking about is finding ways, is developing a protocol that we can share with you, that you can share with the people you work with, you can share with your colleagues, that is efficient, but relatively simple, to help people regain that connectivity with their brain so that they can actually create their own structures and organization and they can function in a more adaptive way. That's the goal. The goal is to teach people how to do it for themselves, because you know better than us all the various kinds of circumstances, all the challenges that can come up moment to moment. And it's really a matter of knowing how to confront it more than, what do I do specifically that people need to learn. And that's what this initiative is about. And we believe we have lots of people on our task force who have skill sets, who know how to create this. And hopefully we can get something to you sooner rather than later that will be of help to all the crisis people doing crisis intervention and to the clients that you're seeing, to the people that you're working with.
What do you think, Viktor?
Yes, I agree with this. I completely agree with you, and I would like to add that yes, what I can do, it is first aid. It is crisis in intervention. It is short-term, because when people haven't many time between when they came from, for example, Kharkiv, and when they are gonna to the train to the Poland. That's why in this short term I should to stabilize their situation, their emotions, their statement, and to provide them with hope that all will be solved. But I completely agree that after this, we should to work with them more thoroughly, more with more emphasis on their emotion, and to study them for self-regulation. But in first time, it doesn't work right now. We can't, they don't need only words how to deal with, they need tangible support. Yes, they need this tangible result. Tangible, I mean, when I came to them, when I can say something to them, when I instructed them what they should to do, this work in this situation. But after, of course, we should to deal with this. I would like to say that consequences of the war, of the stress war, it could be more worsening than the exact war.
I understand very much. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Unfortunately, it's the aftermath that sometimes, when you're in the midst of a crisis, you can focus on just what I need to do right now. And you often you don't have to look at what else is going on. But when the crisis passes and you confront the aftermath and what you're dealing with, all of a sudden it can be overwhelming, and you really need to focus on how do I pull myself together, because now the work starts.
Actually, our friend, Dr. Rinda Montgomery, have developed part of the mindful choice method for school. And they are adapting something very, very good for children that even children can very well understand. It is think, breathe, choose. They need to think, but to think, you need to engage the prefrontal cortex. And if you are in the flight, fight, freeze, it's in the old brain, and that's where you need to make the connection. And then you breathe, because even to breathe, you need to think to remind you to breathe. Because in time of emergency, you forget to breathe. You forget to drink water. So you need to breathe and calm yourself. And then you can choose. But unless you do that, choice is not, you cannot really do a choice before that. I think Dr. Lebovits wants to close and thank everybody.
Yeah, I very much want to, first of all, Viktor, we wish you only the best. And hopefully, with heaven's help, this will resolve sooner rather than later, and people can rebuild their lives as quickly as possible. So I wish you and all the people that you encounter only the best. And God willing, you should all survive this crisis, this terrible, terrible experience. You're very welcome. I want to thank the people who are on the task force. And we've gotten some very interesting comments and very worthwhile comments from listeners, from the audience. And one person is asking how she might be able to use her professional skill sets. And what we would simply do is ask people if they could perhaps contact the Mental Wellness Center to offer their volunteer membership in the Psychology Support for Ukraine Task Force. And that is our lead organization that's really taking on all the people's activities that can really be of benefit to the people in the Ukraine that we're doing. So that would be the place I would go. And anyone who has, I believe it's Dr. Rappaport, who has a technique that he would like to provide us with, and we'd be very happy to get that. We'd be very happy to have his participation in the task force. So please just contact the Mental Wellness Society and offer to join the task force, and we would be very happy to utilize your skills. We have people who are leading the task force, so that's wonderful. And again, we are engaged in a humanitarian effort. That is our objective. And I believe that we are trying to provide, how should I say, humanitarian assistance in ways that other organizations are not. So if we can fill a need, if we can fill an important aspect here that is so vital and yet underserved, we want to know whatever we can do. So we rely on you, Viktor. We rely very much on you to keep us both informed and to keep us on top of what we're doing so that we can give you as much as we can for what you need. So let's persevere, and hopefully we will be successful for you.
And we'll meet again, what, in 2 weeks? Let's say something like that?
Yeah, it could
2
be
weeks.
very good.
Okay, that will be great. Okay, thank you, everybody. And look, if we started from nothing to create what we did in 2 weeks, I hope we have great news to share in 2 weeks. And who knows, maybe we will even be able to announce that there is some type of agreement that craziness will stop. Let's hope for that. Okay, and by the way, in the meantime, I have to say that the population who have cancer, who are in a war, in every situation, all the people who believe in a higher power have 46 to maybe more chance to survive. So I would say a codation. I had a very good poster that I share in some of my class. God have not taken you so far to abandon you now. And you need to remember that. Okay, be well. And let's laugh also. We need good jokes. We need to have jokes because to smile is the best therapy with the children.
Yeah.
Take care.
Let's be mentally healthy.
Take care, Viktor. Be well.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you for it. Bye.
Bye-bye.